You do not have to keep showing up like everything is normal when your life isn't normal. There are seasons where you feel like you have your shit together. And then there are other seasons where you're like, what is happening right now? How on earth am I supposed to keep up with all of this? And that is the kind of season that I have been in. So today, I want to talk about what to do when life feels like too much and why it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Hey, friend, welcome to the show. So, I think it's been about 7 weeks since I've been here, and I want to share with you today why. But even more importantly, I want to share with you what this season has taught me, because I know that some of you are in a season like this too right now. Or if you're not right now, you will be eventually, or you have been. We all go through it. So before I dive into the hard stuff, let me just set the stage. In addition to this podcast and my coaching business, I have been working for about 20 years for a financial planning practice, behind the scenes, creating systems and processes and just helping make sure things run smoothly. And then I got the opportunity to step into a new role, an additional part-time role as director of operations for a venture studio. And if you don't know what that is, the kindergarten version of what we do is we help startups start up. We help them raise money through investments, build the actual business, and all of the various things that are involved in that and get it off the ground. And the new job is very fast paced. It's very interesting. It's always changing and it's a little chaotic. So here I am, 50-year-old me, learning all the new things, right? I've got a new environment, new people to get to know, new systems, figuring out where I fit in, where I can provide the most value. And of course, doing all that while doing my other job and this. So already pretty full plate, right? And at the same time, I was also dealing with my sweet grandmother and her rapidly declining health. So I was very close to my grandmother. She was 95 years old. She has had a lovely, long life. And luckily, she lived fairly close by, about 2.5 hours away. And we were friends. Like we talked often and about everything under the sun. I have learned so much from her throughout my whole life. And I was also her power of attorney. So there were just a lot of like practical admin kind of things happening as well, dealing with her accounts and just logistics and decisions and all of that. But more than any of that, I just wanted to spend time with her because I knew that her life was coming to an end. And that meant I could not keep doing all the things that I was doing. I mean, honestly, I probably could have, right? I could have pushed through. I could have tried really hard to keep everything running like normal and keep doing all the things while also fitting in time with her and all the things I needed to do for her. And I would have been completely fried, right? Emotionally and mentally and physically, all the things. So I just made a decision. I am not going to show up like everything is normal because everything is not. I scaled back. I put the podcast and the coaching on the back burner. I let some things go at home. My house got a little messy. My laundry piled up a bit. But listen, I have a grown ass husband and I have a son who's about to be 18. And you know what? They can feed themselves sometimes and they can do some laundry on occasion. We're going to be okay, right? And I also communicated really clearly with both of my jobs. I explained what was going on, expressed how important it was to me. And that was really important because people don't know what you need if you don't tell them, right? And then that allowed me to focus on what mattered the most. So back on March 18th, hospice called us and they were estimating that she had 24 to 48 hours left. And I was just pulled to go. I had already spent a lot of time with her leading up to this. And I knew that she wasn't really aware anymore. She was completely unresponsive. And yet I just needed to be there. So I got there just after midnight and it was just me and her. And for about 3.5 hours, I held her hand and I just sat with her. And like I said, she was unresponsive, but I talked to her. I talked through memories growing up with her and with my grandfather and all the time that I spent at her house and times that we shared, going shopping or cooking or with the cousins, I talked through the lessons that she taught me all along the way, both as a kid and on into adulthood, as I became a woman, as I got married, as I became a mom. And her faith was very important to her. So I also played hymns on my phone and I sang to her because I knew that that would bring her comfort. And I was right there with her, holding her hand, and I watched her take her last breath. And I watched her face and her body just relax in a way that I didn't even know was possible. And y'all, honestly, it was so beautiful and it was so peaceful. And I will always be so grateful that I got to be there with her. It was just one more beautiful moment in our lives that we were able to share. And it really was beautiful. And if I had pushed myself to keep everything going, I may not have given myself that gift. So, all of that was really just a big reminder for me. There are seasons in life where you just can't do it all. Or maybe you can, but you shouldn't. Because trying to do it all during those times is what will burn you out. It will make you resentful and it pulls you away from the things that actually matter the most. And I think as women, we do this all the time, right? We either try to power through and just keep all the balls juggling, right? Or maybe we scale back, but we feel guilty the whole time, like we're doing something wrong, but you are not doing anything wrong. Sometimes life is just a lot. And listen, that is normal. This is part of the cycle of our lives. There are times when everything feels smooth, and there are times when it feels messy and overwhelming and way too full. And that has nothing to do with how capable you are, how successful you are, or how together you are. That's just part of life. So I just want you to hear me that it is okay to set some things aside in those busy seasons. You do not have to feel guilty about it. You can make the decision feeling fully confident in that decision. And just know that you'll bring it back when it's time. There is nothing wrong with that. Now, if you were with me at the beginning of the year, I went through a whole goal setting series and I set goals for myself at the beginning of the year. One of my identity goals was to grow, right? I wanted to grow personally and professionally in new and interesting ways. And wow, here we are. Growth isn't smooth and easy. It does not follow your perfectly planned checklist. Sometimes it looks just like this. It's messy and it's emotional and it's expansive and kind of uncomfortable. So, over the last few weeks, stepping into this brand new role, I have to be honest, y'all, I have struggled a little bit with imposter syndrome. Like, I am sitting in a room with some really smart people, some really high achieving people. We're talking about Harvard MBAs and serial entrepreneurs, big business entrepreneurs who had built and sold many companies. And I have struggled with the feelings of like, do I really belong here? And I have had to remind myself that my path has looked different, but that does not mean that I don't have massive value that I can provide to this company. And the truth is, they need what I bring to the table. The systems and the structure and the way I think matter. And those people looked at me and they said, we want her here, right? Which means I deserve that seat at the table. And that is where I have seen some of the most growth I've experienced so far this year. So again, you do not have to keep showing up like everything is normal when everything is not normal. Not everything deserves equal priority. And you get to decide what matters most for you in this time, in this season, in this moment. You are allowed to feel the feelings, and your value does not disappear just because you're in a new room or in a hard moment. So I want you to look at your life right now. Are you juggling a lot of balls? And if you are, which ones actually matter? And which ones can you just set down for a little while? Not forever, just for a little bit. It is okay to set some of the balls down. It is okay and encouraged to focus on the things that really matter. And when change comes, you got to remember, you got to think through the value that you provide. You got to think about those amazing things you have done in your life and remind yourself of those. All right. So, as women, most of us know other women who are also trying to juggle all the things. So, if you know somebody like that, send them this episode. Let them know that they're not alone and that it's okay, and give them permission to set some balls down without feeling guilty, and remind them of their value. And if you haven't checked out the goal setting series, go back and listen to that. Or if you have, let this be a reminder that it is okay for the path to change from what you initially mapped out for yourself. The identity-based goals are the big ones. Those are the ones we want to make sure that we're staying on top of. But the steps and the specifics of how we get there might have shifted, and that's okay. And just remember, life is not meant to be perfectly smooth all the time. It's waves, right? There's ebbs and flows. It's messy and it's beautiful. And you're not doing anything wrong if it feels like that. All right, y'all. That's all I've got for today. Go be fabulous. Make sure you take my free Shift Happens quiz to find out what you're really craving next in midlife. Or if you think you might be ready to dive into one-on-one coaching with me, book a free clarity call. You'll find both links right below the video.